Welcome back to the transfer show. Liverpool are down to just one recognised centre-back for their game against Qarabağ tonight, with Giovanni Leone, Joe Gomez and Ibrahima Konate all ruled out. And with Dayo Upamecano potentially available on a free this summer, the Bayern Munich defender is firmly back on Liverpool's radar, according to Sky Germany's Florian Plettenberg.
Bayern Munich is waiting and waiting and waiting for weeks. They want to have a decision soon. And my personal opinion is that he is waiting for Liverpool, for Real Madrid. But there need to be a decision right now. And FC Bayern, they need to push in their squad planning. But they are very, very, very dependent from the yes or the no from Upamecano right now. But Liverpool is interested in Upamecano. We can confirm that.
Right, Rob, Liverpool ended up with Endo at centre-back against Bournemouth the other day. With injuries and other things, they do look very thin in terms of central defenders.
I think they're really struggling. Liverpool have got major injury problems in defence, and we can list them. Conor Bradley, we know about that long-term knee injury he's got. Giovanni Leone recovering from ACL surgery, and now Joe Gomez has picked up what seemed to be a hip or a rib injury, still being assessed. We don't know how long he's going to be out for. But look, far be it from me to criticise Liverpool, but I think they've been hit a little bit by what's happened with Mark Gay. Remember, on deadline day in the summer, Liverpool thought they were getting Mark Gay for £30 million as one of the best centre-backs in world football right now. Which would have been an absolute snip. They've lost out on that to Manchester City. He's now gone there for £20 million. If you look at the add-ons he's got, then it's about £30 million with the fees to the player and the agents. But for a player that's worth £80 million, that's a snip. And Manchester City stole a march on Liverpool there. My understanding was that Liverpool didn't really come back in for him, and there was maybe a lack of communication there. Liverpool's problems now, you look at it and go, well, I'm not sure that was great business. But they're definitely looking at Dayo Upamecano there. It was nice to hear from Florian Plettenberg, who makes that very, very clear. You can understand why. He's been a long-term target for them. And he's out of contract in the summer. And if he does sign this new contract from Bayern, it sounds like it'd be a 4-year deal with a €65 million buyout clause. I think that's what's on the table. He's not signed that yet. But if Liverpool could get him for a fraction of that now, and he is free, of course, in this month to speak to clubs abroad, with his contract expiring in the summer, then I wonder if they will. I wonder if over the last few days, and that's Liverpool's way of doing business, isn't it, in the transfer windows? They tend to come in late and just get a deal done. So if they did that with Upamecano, I think that would make sense. Their policy isn't to cover for injuries, because when those injured players come back, of course, they have a glut of top players, and there's no doubt that Upamecano is world class. But if they could get him at a bargain basement price, as they nearly got Mark Gay for a bargain basement price, you just wonder whether they might try and do that deal over the last 5 days of the window.
Yeah, and it does feel like that would be a statement signing as well. Let's get to Vinny O'Connor. He's at Anfield for us right now for Liverpool's game against Qarabağ. Hello again, Vinny. We've been talking transfers, but aside from that, this feels like a big night for Arne Slot.
It does feel like a big night. It feels like a big month for the club. You guys kind of touched on it there as well with the potential activity in the transfer window. I have to say the noises coming out of Anfield at the moment are very much that they're unlikely to do any business in terms of incomings as well. But certainly the centre-half situation is something that they need to address as well, because Konate is out of contract in the summer. Of course, not available to Arne Slot this evening, as we mentioned. He still remains on compassionate leave following the death of his father. But in terms of what Liverpool need to do tonight, well, yeah, you look at the mood around the place. It's 5 games without a win in the Premier League now.
OK. We've lost Vinny. Second time we've lost Vinny.
Poor old
today.
Vinny.
Yeah.
He was making a lot of sense there as well. He was putting us in our place in our Liverpool knowledge, wasn't he?
Let's just get him back on, and you guys can just be quiet. We'll have Vinny on for a show. If we can get him back on. OK, we'll try and speak to Vinny again, talk Liverpool if we can later. But, guys, I just want to ask you, because we haven't got Vinny there before we get to the break, I just want to ask you what I asked Vinny there in terms of it. You know, it's a big game this for Liverpool, isn't it? Aside from all the transfer issues, it feels like a big game for the manager.
It's a huge game, and it's almost it's extraordinary that we're talking about a threat to the future of Arne Slot for a man who came in his debut season and won the Premier League for Liverpool and did such a fantastic job. But it's equally extraordinary that if you look at the bookies' odds at the moment, Arne Slot is the favourite to be the next Premier League manager to be sacked. Even,
incredible,
even ahead of Nuno. You know, even ahead of some of the other managers that we know are under big pressure in the Premier League right now. But I think that speaks to the expectation. I think that speaks to the hugely disappointing and inconsistent season that Liverpool have had. And I think it speaks a lot about how key this night is for Liverpool. They're not going to win the Premier League. It's as simple as that. It's very, very clear. If they were to win the Champions League, if they had a chance of progressing and going to the latter stages of the Champions League and do well there, that gives something for the Liverpool fans to really rally behind, because they've had huge success of late, haven't they, in the last decade or so, under Jurgen Klopp and now under Arne Slot. It feels like they need something a reason to get behind the manager right now. And a Champions League progression, I think, is absolutely key to that.
They don't like sacking their managers at Liverpool. They want to be patient. I think at least they will wait until the summer and assess what's happened during this season, because there's still plenty to play for Liverpool. They're still going for a Champions League finish in the Premier League. They're still in the FA Cup, and they could, and they probably should, tonight guarantee themselves a place in the last 16 of the Champions League
Could be in the top four,
without having to have that playoff. So still plenty to play for. It hasn't gone according to plan with regard to what's happened in the Premier League, but they're still in a lot of competition. So I think the summer will be the time when Liverpool will look back and assess what's happened.
Okay.